Rabbitohs Radio Podcast, the number one source for everything South Sydney Rabbitohs.
Welcome to another edition of Rabbitohs Radio. My name is Grant Chappell. I'm joined by Big Les from Big Les Rugby League Podcast. What's doing, Les?
Yeah, not much, mate. I went to go watch my brother the other night play in his grand final for Wombats. It was pretty late for grand finals usually for 16s. It was at 7:10. Ended up being 7:30, obviously, too, because obviously the other game had run a little bit behind. But yeah, no, it was good. A good little atmosphere there at Leichhardt Oval. It was packed for an under-16s grand final. You wouldn't think it was that it would be that packed, but it was pretty much full house. Good little atmosphere down there. He played his heart out too. And yeah, it was a really, really good night. I obviously did the prezzo as well. Didn't get home till 11:30. So yeah, a bit of a late one for myself, past my bedtime. But yeah, look, it was a good little night out.
Yeah, Wombats had a few sides in the grand finals. They only had 7 teams in the competition and had 5 in grand finals. So they had a good weekend. And I was down at Redfern on Saturday, and my daughter was in the grand final. They got beat, South Eastern. And I think there was 8 games down there at Redfern. And Sunday there was 7. Me and Brownie and Hugo went down and did the A reserves. That was the mascot Jets. Beat the Redfern All Bucks, the locals there. It was a good game, 16-14. A real tough forwards game it was. Yeah, the Cots, some of the best for the Cots were Corbin Downs out the back and Johnny Payer in the halves. Eddie Payer's brother, he steered them home. There was good football for them, boys. And on the All Blacks side of things there, Jeremy Gordon, the 5'8", he was just about their best on the day. And then we went and had some lunch, a couple of schooners and a steak, and come back and did half of the 18s, and we got to see one of the real stars of South Juniors competition there, Lockie Walters. He is going to be something special, this halfback. Not much of him, but plenty of pace, vision, ball skills, and then we got to watch an absolute cracker, Les, in the A grade. Don't know if you caught up with any of the highlights, but it was 16 all at half time, and they went out to a 26-16 lead, Hill Mob, with 5 minutes to go. They kicked off, didn't regather the kickoff, and Rovers went down and scored a try through the blistering speed of Kieran Mundine, this winger. You have to see him to believe it. Jump on our YouTube channel and have a look at the rest of his highlights. He's one of the quickest blokes I've ever seen in a rugby league field. First grade, doesn't matter. Never seen anything like it. Some of the stuff he was doing was crazy. That get him within a 6-point position. They were missed the goal, obviously, and then they just won a penalty late in the tackle count, went down, and Kirill Phillips, the old veteran, he's like a Cody Walker of the A-grade competition. He just come up with the right play at the right time. Travis Robinson, the former first grader from Penrith, jumped out of dummy half, just double pumped it, and Kirill just pushed into the gap, and that was it. Yeah, 26 all. They kicked the goal and scored a try in extra time. It was that man, Kirill Phillips, put the rubber stamp on it in extra time. We went wild, me and Brownie and Hugo out there. So, yeah, it was really good. Congratulations to everyone from the Alexandria Rovers. I think some of them are still drinking, I think, Les. They partied on pretty hard. They had a mad Monday down there at Erskineville Oval. Kicked on, a bit of fancy dress. They carried on a bit, but, yeah. Great win by the Rovers, mate. And again, I don't think they had an A grade since the early 2000s, so it's quite a story. The Alexandria Rovers club. Some famous names there, the Mundines. There was Travis Robinson, and you might remember Chase Robinson played in our lower grades there for a couple of years. Jake Trindle, the son of the great Darryl Trindle. Darryl Trindle was there. Bit of drama with him. He popped his shoulder out. They took him off, popped it back in the dressing rooms. And he went back out and finished the game off. So he's pretty tough, Jakey Trindle, mate.
Yeah, wow. Obviously some great games. I only got to see a few highlights here and there, but I know that Lockie Walters had a full field try. Obviously got a chance to play with him a little bit. I think he's 1 or 2 years younger than me, but he ended up playing with us in the A grade just due to a shortage of numbers. Played A and B grade there. I'm pretty sure to be playing A grade this year for their grand final, which I think would have already been by now. But look, great player, obviously in that South system as well. So can't wait to see him sort of come through the grades and what he can sort of produce there in that regard. But definitely we've got some great blokes coming through in that team. I think Trey as well, he's signed with the Warriors. So good luck to him going into next year. You got some unreal players in there. But yeah, just in regards to the A grade, I'll tell
Dane
you
Fallon.
what, I heard that Brownie couldn't keep his shirt on.
Yeah, he had his shirt off at one stage, Brownie. It started getting real hot as that's because it was a bit cool in the first one, and then all of a sudden the sun came out, and yeah, Brownie ripped his shirt off, and like I said, mate, put it back on. Let's get fair income here. Put our suits back on. We had a button up shirts there, but no, it was just a good day out there, and the emotions around the A grade. It's a different feeling, you know. Like it was like like winning the lotto out there for some people. It was just unreal. I was so happy for the club, the Rovers. And again, the Wombats on the other side, commiserations. They did win the 18s. I think Yasin Kusko was a bit of a definite standout in that one as well. Dane Fallon, I like the look of him. And for the Wombats in the A grade, Liam LeBlanc's brother played really well. Ethan LeBlanc, he's a tough customer. And Irvin Manning was pretty strong for them. And in the front row, James Kokonos, 2 tries in a grand final. You don't get that every day. And Jason Clark didn't put a foot wrong all day. He just kept cutting the ball up. He's one to watch. And the bloke that the Rabbitohs did sign, Benjamin Gearin, 18-year-old back rower. Brownie really liked the look of him. Rangy, poked his nose through the line a lot, real hard worker. He'll be in our Jersey flag side next year. He looks certainly one to watch. And the other one, I was calling him Two Toes, but it's Toe Vice, Toe Sammy. He had the shot of the match, come up and just belted the fullback from the Wombats, Jakey Tobin, mate. Some memorable moments in that grand final, and well done to everyone at the A grade and South Juniors, because there was no dramas on the day. It was, all the teams behaved exemplary out there.
Yeah, look, as I said before, it was such a great day. Obviously a lot of great blokes to watch as well in both of those sides in the A grade, and obviously some of them obviously linked to NRL clubs as well for the future, which is nice to see. Obviously getting a nice little taste of what's to come in the NRL over the next few years. That mundane bloke you were speaking about before, the pace on the wing, I did get to watch his first try. That beautiful cutout pass too. I think it was only a few plays after the kickoff, but what about the speed on him? You were hyping him up, saying he's probably going to be the fastest bloke in the NRL if he was in the NRL. I'll tell you what, after watching that, I'm not really, pushing that back too hard at all. He is an absolute gun.
Yeah, well, Roger Fabry put up reposted some of the tries we put up, and Roger's saying that Athletics Australia should never let this kid go. They just didn't offer him much money to stay in the sport, and he was keen on it, but they just didn't give him the support he needed. He won the semi-final in the Stall Gift last year, blew the doors off, just got himself in the final, and he was sort of second or third favourite to win it, but just missed the start in the Stall Gift last year. I think he runs like a 10-2 or something ridiculous like that. There was one try in the second half where they Chase Robinson, they put pressure on him, he kicked it through to the corner, and he just come from absolutely nowhere to put this ball down. And there was another one he had to turn and chase. He gave up 20 metres on Dowie and caught him in about 10 metres. Just rounded him up so quick. He was certainly had the tongues wagging coming out of that game. But yep, that's it for all the junior footy. Everyone can rest up now and jump into Oztag or cricket season from now on for all the kiddies out there and all the adults, mate. But
I'll be with Kettles,
getting
mate.
back to.
I'll be with Kettles in the spring comp. It sounds like.
Oh yeah, okay.
Watch out!
Yeah, beautiful.
We're in the winter comp before. I don't know how well we went. I'm not going to really disclose that. Obviously, it's a over 40s and then the 18-year-old or 19-year-old in myself. But should be organising that soon. Kettles, if you're listening, mate, chuck us a comment. Where's it going? What's happening? When's it start? Get the details in the chat, mate. We're ready to go.
Oh, he loves it. He loves it, Kettles. Don't worry about that. Yeah, well, we got to see each other at the footy the other night. A rare sighting of Big Les out there, mate. And I got to do the interview prior to the main game, and I had Isaiah Tass up on stage, and he revealed to me that he signed a 3-year deal, exclusive interview there for the members. It pays to become a member because you get exclusive interviews live in front of you. And you got a chance to take a photo with some of the stars this year. So if you're not a member, make sure you become a member in the off season. You get all those perks next year. It's up in that northwest corner. And I got to go jump in the Cameron's Lounge, was it, or the Churchill's Lounge with you guys, and couple of meat pies and a couple of beers, mate. And it was an entertaining game in the end, wasn't it?
Yeah, mate. I tell you what, the meat pies and the beers made it so much better. But yeah, look, I mean, the late comeback for us as well. It was huge, and we were sort of talking about the effort in this game, where there needs to just be effort shown in the next 2 weeks against the Panthers and the Roosters. Spoke about it for the past 2 weeks. I think that in both of those games, we've displayed that effort. Particularly against the Roosters here, to come back late in that last 10 minutes to score those 3 tries. Obviously didn't really put it together for the full 80 minutes, but there was heart, resilience shown in that late comeback there as well. And there was definitely some positive signs through the middle for us as well. I thought Mawale handled it well through the middle against the Roosters pack. I thought that Tommy Burgess was good in his last game as well for the Rabbitohs. So was Cookie, to be honest, in that roaming lock role. Had some really good performances there for South Sydney. Unfortunately, we couldn't get the job done to end the year, but I still think it is a positive way to end the year. The fact that we can go toe-to-toe with that Roosters side, yes, with a few players out, but we've got half our team out as well. So for us to go toe-to-toe with them and, to make it, I think, an 8-point difference in terms of the points there by the end of it, super impressive from us.
Yeah, no, it was, look, we were swinging with them a little bit early there. Look, we got the pants pulled down by Nagawani Wase. Geez, didn't he have a debut for the Chookies, the big fella? He just outleapt us there, outleapt over the top of Tai. And look, he looks like he's someone that they're going to put a bit of work into in the off season. He could be a star for the Chookies. But on our side of things, yeah, look, by the time we got in the game, I thought probably one of our best players was Cody Walker on the night, just probing down that left-hand side. It was nice to see him parked over there. I think we spoke about in the preview that he's going to get over to that the side he likes, and he had a few options there at times. He threw the short ball, the long ball. But it was kind of like a bit of an outside ball to Jai Gray there, and Jai Gray with the fast feet sort of did the dummy and go and trotted over for a nice try. Ty Munro had the intercept late with that. And then the Tommy Burgess, look, the heavens just opened, didn't they, for Tommy? Did the Roosters let him score that try? I don't think they ever would, but it just all looked a bit too easy for the big fella. And then he grabbed the pill. He'd been doing a bit of goal kicking at training the last few weeks, and he nearly made a meal of it, but he just got it inside that. It's only got to go over. Doesn't have to do too much, but it went over in the bottom left-hand corner. It was a big moment there for Tommy, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It certainly was. Obviously very close to missing that conversion too, but it was good to see him score. Look, I would have liked for him and Cookie to score a try to finish off their Rabbitohs careers, but it was good to see Tommy get over the line and kick that goal, and thank God it went in too, because there was a little comeback mounting there, and that would have certainly changed things if he missed that kick. But yeah, look, I thought had he played outstanding, deserved that try too after the effort that he put in the game. I'll tell you what, mate, Mark Nawonga-Nitawase, I have been saying that name in the mirror for the last 2 to 3 days trying to get it right. I'll tell you what, lucky you blokes don't have to cover all NRL teams, because I know Brownie would have an absolute field day with that one. But yeah, look, lucky you blokes don't have to cover those. I'll tell you that for free, because I'm going to have to learn that one off by heart, backwards and everything.
Yeah, there were some tough ones in the A grade the other day too, mate. Through Enanavuli, who scored the winner, well, basically the winner, the first try on the extra time, the Fijian flyer himself. Yeah, plus I called the Jersey Flegg game between the Bulldogs and the Panthers on the Saturday, and there was a couple of tough names in there too. So I'm getting a little bit better at that sort of stuff. I'm doing another game this week for the Jersey Flegg on a side note. I'm doing the minor premiers, the Raiders versus the Bulldogs for New South Wales Rugby League TV, if anyone's a subscriber to that. So that'll be a great game. The Bulldogs have got some good young players, the Bulldogs. I wouldn't mind stealing a few of them. But, yeah, look, getting back to that game, it was obviously a lot of emotion around a few players. No, it wasn't just our man Damien Cook and Tom Burgess leaving. They put a thing up on the screen at the end there. Obviously, Cheekham's going out the door. I think it was Leon Tahau, Dean Hawkins, the halfback who played a decent game in his last one for the Bunnies at the moment. He may come back in the future. I'm not sure about that. Yeah, there's a few players walking out the door. Isaac Tupu Thompson has been there a couple of years. Debuted against the Warriors in Sunshine Coast a couple of years ago in a great win up there. But And there might be a few more to come, mate. There's still a few people that haven't announced Richie Kenner's leaving yet, or Tane Milne. I believe there's not that much money left for him. Might be a base minimum contract, from what I understand. So might be a bit. There's still a lot more signings and doing and throwing to be had, mate, over the next few months.
I did my Dally M podcast the other day, or a week ago now, and I brought up Tane Milne as a potential Dally M Centre of the Year, and I got a lot of pushback from some NRL fans as to him getting that award, and obviously if he got it, it'd be rigged and stuff like that. He got a lot of criticism in the comment section, but I'll tell you what, he's got the most offloads for a centre in the competition, if not in the competition alone. He has had some massive performances for South Sydney this year. It wouldn't shock me in the slightest if he gets Dally M Centre of the Year. And the fact that we're looking at a potential Dally M Centre of the Year who could potentially not have a contract going into next year, or could be on a minimum wage contract. If South's getting him for minimum wage, that is an absolute bargain. I would take that all day. If we could get Tane Milne on minimum
100%.
wage, wouldn't be good for him, but it would be great for us to be able to keep him. I think that there wouldn't shock me in the slightest if there's a bunch of clubs, talking to his manager at the moment, trying to get him over there. But look, obviously it's unfortunate to see.
I could be wrong, but I'm hearing there's another guy we've signed on a minimum base minimum wage, and he might be the bargain of the century. Josh Schuster, I'm hearing it's base minimum wage. They come to South. They're the ones that pushed the bar and wanted the opportunity. They're doing a 1 year prove it deal. They're happy that they're not worried about the money. They're going to come in and maybe play for 150. This is what I'm hearing. So if you can get those two sort of guys and get some contributions out of both of them, I think it's smart recruiting.
100%. And Tane Milne, he could play in the back row if you needed him to. He can play centre, back row. He's played lock for Fiji. He's very versatile. Can play on the wing there as well. He can play a number of positions for you. So it is such a bargain when you're going to get a guy that puts in 110%, particularly from the form that we've seen this year, and can do so over a number of positions as well. To get a guy like that on minimum, I think is outstanding. And I think the same goes for Josh Schuster as well. If we can get a guy that can cover the halves if there's injury, most likely he's going to be the right starting right back rower. If we're putting this team together now, for me at least, he'd be that starting right back rower. I'd have Keon through the middle, but you're getting a guy that can play 5'8", back row. He can play centre in a pinch. He can come off the bench and play in the middle. I think both of those guys, if you're getting them on minimum, it is such a bargain, and I can't wait to see what happens with these two. I think Schuster's done. I'm pretty sure that's been done for a little bit. They're just waiting to announce it. But in regards to Tane Milne, I bloody hope we keep him because he's been outstanding this year, and I think he deserves to be rewarded with that.
Well, he hasn't signed yet. I think he's weighing up some offers from possibly England at the moment. He doesn't really want to go to England. He's just he's having a baby soon, a young baby. Doesn't want to chuff off over there and do all that stuff over here. So look, obviously there's not too many other offers out there. Otherwise, he would have went somewhere else, wouldn't he? So anyway, I hope we don't lose him because he's a great clubman, and he's, as you said, he actually led the NRL for all positions this year. He was number one in the NRL for offloads. He had 60 offloads, outstanding from the big. So look, he's not one of them blokes who's going to be able to blow you off on the outside with speed. So what he does is he runs into you, pumps the legs, gets the arm free with his strength, and gets a bit of second phase play. And we had plenty of half breaks and offloads and tries off that this year from a guy like Tane Milne. Yeah, look, what about a guy like Jacob Gagai? I think there's a bit of negotiations going on there. They won't be too far away from coming to an agreement on possibly maybe 1 year deal, keep him in the club. He sort of started to probably get a few niggles towards the end of the year. We've seen some good football from him early in the year. But, it's like you play a full season in the NRL. It's the toughest game in the world. The back end of the year, rookies do sort of struggle a little bit fitness-wise, have niggles, and they build up, and you're playing injured, and he gets in the full off-season to get his body right. I reckon he'll be someone fighting for a round one wing position for sure.
Well, this is the sort of thing that leaves me a little bit scratching my head in regard to Jacob Gagai and just if this deal is going to come across the line. Because Jacob Gagai is 29 next year. He's getting into those peak years. Depending on who we do sign in the outside backs as depth, it could lead to him potentially getting a deal elsewhere. He might go to Newcastle with his brother. You never know. But, he is starting to get into those peak years. I'm sure that's going to weigh into it. And if we are looking for other outside backs to sign going into the off-season, that could weigh into it a little bit. But, yeah, I definitely want to keep Jacob Gagai around. He's been a guy that's worked so hard to get where he is in this first-grade side. He's probably not going to play first grade next year, but he certainly is great depth. And now that he's blooded in first grade and he's played first grade for pretty much a full year now, with the amount of injuries that we've had, I think it's a great guy to have in your system. Just that experience of playing, a number of years in Cup, but also just playing for a number of years in an NRL system. And then to have this full year now under his belt in NRL, I think it is so valuable to have a guy like that in your squad that can play a number of positions. He has played fullback before for New South Wales Cup, centre, winger. He can cover plenty of positions for you in the back line. So I think it's definitely a valuable guy to have. And, if we can get him for around a minimum as well, we're looking at some real bargain gets going into next year.
Yeah, for sure. Depth-wise, I think you got Alex Johnson. This is at the moment, from what I understand, Latrell, Campbell Graham. You've got Isaiah Tass. You've also got Tyrone Munro, Jack Whiten, and Fletcher Myers. They're the ones that are locked and loaded right now, but you could possibly have a couple of more dropping in, like your Tano Mills, your Jacob Gay guys, and possibly a new signing from outside the squad somewhere else. So interesting times there, mate.
You know what I think we really need? I think we need an out-and-out fullback. We've got Latrell, who for me still is a little bit more of a centre. We've got Jai Gray, who's obviously a half first before fullback. I think we do need that out-and-out fullback in our squad. I would have loved to have seen if we could get Tristan Saylor. Obviously, he's going to the Super League next season. I would have loved to have gotten him into that side and had him as depth there. But I still think that's short of that one out-and-out fullback. In saying that as well, for me, and it might be a big call to some of you Rabbitohs radio listeners out there, but I think that Jai Gray needs to be in this side next year. I think that he should be the fullback next year, and I think Latrell should play in the centres.
Yeah, well, he impressed. He was our most dangerous player in the back 5 or 6 games. He was him and when Tyrone come in, Munro, when Ty come in, it was basically. It was hard to picture anyone else scoring, wasn't it? Because they've got that little bit of foot speed. They've got that little real competitiveness. They're willing to break tackles. They're around the ball. They'll push, especially Ty was pushing up around the ball all the time. And Ty scored 2 tries in the second last round against Panthers, and Jai scored 2 tries in the final round because they're just footballers. They just want to be around the ball. They're pushing up around it all the time. They're the most exciting players in our team at the moment, and how could you leave them out of the 17? Them two. I can't see a round one without Tyrone in it. I think he's going to build up bit of meat around the bone, and we continue to work on his speed and stuff like that, which is crazy to think that he could improve speed-wise. And Jai Gray, he'll just continue to get stronger and get more confidence defensively. Which he never shirked any responsibilities defensively, did he? We never got a chance to see him in the front line, which, unfortunately, if we did have that third-string fullback, could have played fullback in one of the last 2 games and seen what Jai was doing up the front there. They knew Dean was leaving, so that would have been, might have been able to leave Dean in New South Wales Cup and bring Jai up in the front line and playing with Cody and see what that looks like against an NRL standard side, those top sides like your Panthers and the Roosters, but it didn't happen. It's interesting, mate, to see what's going on there, mate. Anything else on that game?
Look, as I said before, great effort. I thought that some of our guys standing up without Cam Murray, without Whiten as well, in this game. Without Whiten. Obviously Cody going back to the left-hand side for the first time in a while too. I think not many people took that into account, Cody going back to that left-hand side. With Dean Hawkins coming in at 7, to do it without some of our main men. And you look at some of the performances that Jack Whiten's had and the meters that he generates, and obviously the second phase that he generates through the middle as well. I think it was a massive loss against the Roosters. He was probably one of our better players towards the back end of the season, Jack Whiten, sorry. Yeah. So for him to be out and for us to still play well, for us to still get to that stage where he could mount that late comeback as well, I think is extremely impressive. And I think Jai Gray, we've spoken about him a number of times, but I think he's really arrived in NRL at NRL standard as well. As I said before, you can't take him out of first grade, and we showed that against the Roosters.
No way. He's like I think Brownie said it many times. He's a threat every time he touches the ball. Like his fast little feet there. He worries opposition teams constantly. Every time he's had the ball, look, he had to show and go a fair bit there, and some people were frustrated by the fact that he was always throwing the dummy and going himself. But I know, look, in the halves, I've seen him play a lot of schoolboy footy, some of the highlights. Don't worry, he's got ball skills. He's got the short pass, the long pass. He's got a good little short kicking game. He can kick long if he has to. And he's certainly someone, if you put him in the halves and he kicks, I tell you what, he'll be the first one down there, kick chase-wise. He'll do those 1%ers for you. Not a problem in the world. I like what we've seen from him in his rookie year. I'm pretty sure he's only 20 years of age. He only just turned 20, really, earlier in March this year. So by the time next season comes around, he's 21. I think he played 13 games this year, scoring 7 tries. Didn't score a lot of tries in the first couple of games, but towards the back end, when he started to figure things out and gain the confidence, mate, I thought he was one of our better players, as I said.
I'll tell you what, I honestly forgot that it was his rookie year too. He could be a real smoky for Rookie of the Year this season, depending on how that voting process goes. I know that Kale from the Sharks is in that conversation, but Jai Gray, honestly, I think a lot of people have slept on him for Rookie of the Year too.
Yeah, well, he broke a lot of tackles. I know that for a fact. He certainly, for a little guy, we spoke about it a few times this year. I think he had 3 games where he had more than 10 tackle breaks in a game. It's phenomenal for a little fella like that. So, yeah, no, I like what we've seen from Jai Gray. We obviously blooded a lot of players this year. Round 1, we had Jacob Gagai at 29 debuting. There was obviously Fletcher Myers come in. So there was a lot of guys that got opportunities, a lot of players that played for the club for the first time. You know, you forget about your Jermat Shibasakis, your Matt Frenches had to debut this year. I'm probably forgetting a couple, but it was just one of those years where we just had to bite the bullet and get a few blokes in there and try and get through to that round 27 and just get the job done. And look, they haven't mucked around. Pretty sure Wayne's got them all in, having a meeting tomorrow. Wayne's gone straight from Newcastle getting beaten in a playoff to basically make a top 8 position, and he's down in Sydney today. Down in Sydney having a coffee down there at Malabar Beach today. There you go. He's spotted in the area, Liz. He's not mucking around.
Down the bar, mate.
They've said everything. He's down the bar, not down the bar, down the bar. So he's already down in South Sydney Rabbitohs territory. And the arrow points to November 1, Big Les. They're going to get it all. Everyone can go and probably do their exit interviews this week, tidy things up, do a bit of review, have some meetings about what they want. Schedule-wise, this is probably all going to be done over the next week, and everyone can just chuff off and go and have a holiday and a break and forget about footy for a while. Go and enjoy your time with your family, and then get back in November and try and get everyone on board, everyone on the same page, everyone willing to make sacrifices and as a team, as individuals, do all the right things away from training, do the extras. And look, I'm pretty sure from what I understand with who we've signed and who we haven't signed, and who's staying and who's going, I can see us jumping back into the top 8 pretty quick next year, Big Les. That's in my opinion.
Yeah, 100%, mate. I think that we're definitely a chance, especially with Campbell Graham coming back into the team. I mean, that is such an underrated loss for us this season. A lot of people haven't talked about Campbell Graham being out. He's in the side. He scores a ton of tries. We probably win a lot of close games, and it's a lot different of a year with Campbell Graham in the side. I'll tell you that for free.
Oh, for sure. Of course it is. Campbell Graham, if Campbell Graham gets back to what he has been in his career, mate, he's a top 5 or 6 centre in the game. If you end up putting him in a different position on the wing, well, the one part of Campbell Graham's game that I love is tackle 1, tackle 2. First bloke that pushes back behind the ball, puts his hand up for a carry, and more than not, He lands on his front and gets us on the front foot, tackle one. He doesn't get dominated in the tackle. He's a monster of a man. Anyone that's met him up close and seen him in the flesh, he is a big, big man with a big wingspan. And in defence, mate, you've got to go. You want to be pretty quick and go around him because he's got the wingspan of an albatross down there off Wollongong, mate. The biggest wingspan of any bird in the world. So, yep, there's a lots to like, mate. Lots to like about some of the comings and goings and what's happening this year, mate.
Yep, 100%. Cannot wait for next year. We'll have that full side back. Knock on wood, no injuries, and hopefully a big year for us when we get back into the top 8. And look, I'll throw a hot take your way, and I'll see what you think. I think if Campbell Graham comes back and kills it, he takes Lomax's spot for New South Wales.
Yeah, that's all. He certainly that year he got injured, they wanted to select him, but Fittler just had a rule that you had to do all the training sessions, otherwise we don't want you. So he was quite unlucky there, wasn't he, to not get a run that year. They give him the wide berth, but yeah, I know he's capable of it. I know he's willing to make the sacrifices and do the hard work that Origin players do. They're not just rocking up with their talent. They've done the hard yards for years, and if anyone could handle that occasion and add something to the Blues, defensively and toughness-wise, well, it's our man, Campbell Graham, big stretchy boy.
100%, mate, 100%.
Look, we might move on to the final series here, mate. We're gonna do plenty of reviews on the season. We might do a proper season review, go over sections of the season and relive it again. Do some predictions for next year, what we think is going to happen and what's not going to happen. But right now, what about we focus on the final series and how you think it's going to play out, Big Les?
Yeah, look, I've actually, just while we've been talking, gone into the ladder predictor and sort of punched out how my final series is going to go. It's a bit of an interesting one. It might be a little bit different to everyone else's. So in regards to, I'll probably just go through it from week 1 right through. So to start off, week 1, Panthers, Roosters. I've gone Panthers. Then I've gone Storm, Sharks. I've gone with the Storm. I think that's 2 very obvious ones there. Cowboys, Knights. I've gone with the Cowboys to knock out the Knights in week 1. And then Bulldogs, Seagulls. I've gone with the Bulldogs to knock out the Seagulls. There's a bit of a smoky there as well. I know that the Bulldogs have had 2 really rough weeks, but I think they really turn it around. Matt Burton comes back into the side. I think that's how that goes. Week 2, Sharks v Cowboys would be that matchup. I'm going to take the Cowboys to beat the Sharks and knock the Sharks out. Roosters and Bulldogs. I think that the Roosters will beat the Bulldogs and knock the Bulldogs out in finals week 2. Then you go to week 3. Storm, Roosters. I'm going to go Storm. And then Panthers and Cowboys. I'm going to take the Panthers, which means it's a Storm and Panthers grand final. The most boring answer for you for a grand final prediction. I'm going to take the Melbourne Storm to win the comp. What about you? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I haven't done the ladder predictor. I was just doing it then. I was just pretty much the same as you, mate. But I think Manly will beat the Dogs. Tommy Turbo rested him up for the week. The big Rolls Royce out the back. Canterbury got a bit of doubt in their minds the last couple of weeks. Lost a bit of confidence. Defence has been their strength all year, and to turn around, and I know it was a nothing game. They're probably playing not to get hurt, but they conceded 44 points at home in front of that crowd, mate. That's devastating, I reckon. And then all the news around Josh Adokar. Look, it hasn't been a great week for him. So I've got Manly going through there. I just got to finish off my ladder prediction here. Didn't accept my thing here. Yep. So that gets me through to week 2, and then I think the Sharks bounce back and handle them in Sydney. The Cowboys, they won't be easy to beat. The Cowboys, I think they had a pretty good semi-final. Was it last year or the year before? A bit of an epic there. I think I'll take the Sharks there. And then Manly and the Roosters. Yeah, I think the week 2 of the finals, they get back Joe Warrior Hargreaves. They get a bit of a boost there. Not sure if anyone else comes back, but I think Manly locks them out. They go out the back door in straight sets. The Roosters, the players they lost in that second last round of the season, they're going to be too hard to overcome. He had so many points in him, that Walker. And defensively the other night, I thought they were poor on their right edge. Cody Walker cut them the ribbons. Joey Manu had a terrible game defensively in that one. Then we come over to the other side of the draw, and I don't see anyone beating the Melbourne Storm. And the Penrith Panthers go through to the final. Exactly the same result as yours in the end. It was just a different result on one or two occasions there, and I think the Storm.
I'll tell you what, mate.
Get over the hump, mate.
Oh, I tell you what,
get over the hump and beat the Panthers.
I think that you should nickname the Cowboys in this final series Hansel, mate. You know why? Because they're so hot right now, and I think that they're on a little bit of a streak. And I think that they're just going to be really hard to beat going into this one. I think they smoked the Knights this week. I think that they could put a bit of a scoreline on the Sharks too if they're a bit off. I think that the only thing they've really needed to fix up to be a top side in this competition is defense. And to hold the Bulldogs down to 44-6. And that try was a nothing try too from Toby Sexton. That was an individual bit of brilliance there from Toby. But for what the Cowboys were able to do defensively, the intensity through the middle, Jason Taumalolo just went to another level. Without their veteran there in the middle, Jordan McLean, I honestly think that they're going to have a little bit of a streak here, a little bit of a run. And look, to be honest, mate, tough call. But that Panthers and Cowboys game is going to be a lot tougher in that third week of finals if this prediction goes well than what a lot of people think. I honestly think the Cowboys are going to put on a bit of a show, and it's going to be that 1-12, potentially golden point contest decided right at the end.
Well, you've gone deep there, Les. Yeah, well, I'm going to go with you. You probably watch a lot more of the other games than I do. I didn't have a chance to watch any over the weekend besides our game, really. I just watched the extended highlights on the KO Minis, the 18-minute highlights. So I didn't watch the full games because I was obviously busy calling games. I was coaching one of the games, helping coach. So it was one of those weekends, mate. Even the World Championship surfing thing was on. I really miss an event there. I didn't see one heat. I was just too busy studying up names or making up sheets because we ended up calling about 3 or 4 games in the end. And you want to try and do the best job you can, getting the lineups. So, yeah, didn't really get a chance to do it, but I'm going to try and get my eyes on a lot of these semi-finals this weekend. I'm really looking forward to see if the Roosters can bounce back. I know they didn't put their strongest squad out on Friday night. You got Lindsay Collins and a few heads to come back. I think Dom Young and the likes, and it looks like they have named them. And it would be interesting to see what sort of Nathan Cleary we see. Is he 70%? Is he 80%? Or what do you think there with Nathan Cleary? Where do you think he's at fitness-wise?
It's so hard to tell. I'll tell you what, though, coming back from that shoulder injury, the word was that he started the carnivore diet. Josh Adokar got him onto the carnivore diet, and he was really strict on that throughout the entire rehab process, and he came back absolutely shredded. You should see some of the photos of him on Instagram just before he came back. He was shredded and super fit. That was the whole conversation at all the press conferences is Nathan Cleary is so fit. He's ready to go. If he maintains that fitness, if that shoulders, obviously there's going to be a few pain-killing injections needed. Imagine going into the back end of the year just to, make sure it's totally right and feeling good enough to go out there and play. But I think it is so hard to tell. I think that he's just going to get through it. I think he's going to stand up and have those big moments we saw when he returned in that game for the Dolphins and then a lot of the games after that against Parramatta and the like. I think that's the Nathan Cleary we're going to get in this one. I think it's going to be a tight game. I think it is going to be a 1-12 contest. Obviously, a full-strength Penrith side. You'd expect a 13-plus affair. I don't think it's going to be that. I think Tedesco is going to keep it close. I think Manu's going to have a bounce-back week. Keary, Watson, just through the middle there. Watson is an absolute gun. I honestly think it's going to be a lot tighter than what people think. And I think the Roosters, I think it's just no excuses for them. They're going to come in. They know what they have to do. They know, how it is and the stakes. You think back to the Roosters, I think it was 2021, 2022, maybe, 2022, I think it was, when they had all of those injuries in that season and still managed to get to just before a prelim. I think that's the Roosters we're going to see over the next few weeks, and I'm very excited to see it.
Yeah, well, Trent Robinson's got the experience there, coaching in many, many final series in his career. So, we'll see if he can get his side up there. They've got a good enough side on paper to be Compared to be an interesting game for Spencer Leniu, who had playing the first semi-final against Penrith at Penrith in Penrith Park. See if they can bait him a little bit. I thought he was quiet against South. Didn't have a massive impact on the result, to be honest. I thought Angus Crichton was strong and powerful against the Bunnies. Satili Tupanua was a handful. Even Sui Wong, hadn't seen a lot of Sui Wong this year. I thought he's going to play a lot more football. He had some moments against South where he looked like he's up for the challenge. Tyrell Mays, another handful. So, look, they've got the side on paper there to challenge anyone in the competition, but I just think with the inclusion of Nathan Cleary steering the ship around, they're going to be hard to beat. I think Sorrow, he's second or third week back, so he's a very experienced campaigner, and he'll be a massive in for them come finals time. They don't lose many finals when Sorrow plays.
Yep,
the former Wolfie down there, Paul Bonnie, Sorrow.
100%, mate, 100%. I'm keen for this one. I think it actually might be one of the closer ones. I don't know if it is going to be that 13-plus lead from Panthers like a lot of people would expect. I think, as I said, the Roosters that we saw of 2022 during that time when they had a lot of those injuries coming into finals, I think that is the Roosters we are going to see, and I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, for sure, mate. The Sharks, look, I mean, I'm pretty sure this is the matchup they wanted. Now, 3 or 4 weeks ago, one of the boys at work, his brother-in-law is Steve Price, he's assistant coach of the Sharks. Now, I don't know whether it was because the Storm weren't travelling that well a month ago, but he said the team we want to play is the Storm. So sometimes you've got to be careful what you wish for, mate, because the Storm right now is not the Storm of a month ago. They are the hottest team of the competition. The Sharks are going to go down to an absolute fortress at Amy Park, where they haven't had a lot of success, had a tiny bit of success down there in sprinkles, but they're going to be certainly up for a big one down there against a Storm side who's going to be full strength. Everyone's had a week off here or there. He sort of shared that out over a 2-week period. And a little bit interesting that they put Hines and Braden Trindle back to 5'8". I really like Atkinson. I'm not sure whether I would have had Hines in the 13. I would have probably had him on the bench, Hines, to cover a few different positions. But he's gone with probably the more 2 experienced guys in finals. And when it comes to finals, I suppose you want the most experienced guys in the key position.
Yeah, that's exactly right, chaps. You do. And I think that, they just have, as you said, be careful what you wish for here going up against the Melbourne Storm. In saying that, they have won their previous matchup against Melbourne, 25-18 back in May. So they're going to have a little bit of confidence going into this one. Obviously, they've beaten them before. And remember as well, they beat Melbourne with Brayley playing halfback, with McInnes playing that roaming role. That awkward style of play that they tried out in that game. And obviously, they ended up winning quite well. They're going to have a little bit of confidence going into this one. I think it's going to be a tough game. As I said, I don't think any of these games really, other than the Cowboys and the Knights, is going to go out to 13+. I think that this one is going to be tight. I think that the Sharks are really going to bring it to the Melbourne Storm, particularly through the middle. Toby Rudolph has been in career best form over the past 4 weeks too. I'm really enjoying this little matchup here. And big CSC for Talakai as well, coming back into the 17 as well. Officially, I think it's a huge inclusion for them in terms of their impact off the bench. They've gone with a very mobile bench to the Sharkies with Williams and Talakai, with Atkinson there at 14. Really keen to see how it works.
Yeah, no, there's going to be no easy beat. I think it's going to be Melbourne 1-12 in that one. Or it could be even closer. It could be 1-6, Melbourne 1-6. It could be something really tight where Harry Grant or Munster pulls out something special in the dying minutes to seal the victory. And Cowboys and the Knights, I just think the Cowboys handle them. They're in pretty good form. They rely a little bit too much on Ponga out the back. If they can do a job on Ponga and try and limit the space and the time that bloke gets to the ball, that goes a long way to a victory there for the Cowboys, mate.
Well, look, if the Cowboys defend well, it's Cowboys 13+ for me. As I said, I think that the defense that they showed against the Dogs was outstanding, particularly when the Dogs love to go to their edges. And realistically for the Cowboys, the most concern for defense has been on their edges. For the Cowboys to have pretty much an answer for everything the Dogs threw at them, I think is very impressive. Going up against a Knights side with Gagai, Best, Ponga, I think that the Cowboys can do a job on them here. In saying that, I've listed the Knights as a bit of a dark horse, where if they win this game here against the Cowboys and they keep going deeper into finals, I honestly reckon this Knights side could get to a prelim. If they have to win this game first, I think the Cowboys, at their best, will win 13 plus. However, if the Knights win this week, I feel like they're that side that can be a dark horse, and then they can go on and obviously have a bit of a run.
Yeah, mate, they certainly can. Look, we got to see them firsthand. The mighty South Sydney Rabbitohs. I was out there at that game, and they were pretty impressive. Guys like Lucas in the back row, he's had a season. You still got the experience of Tyson Frizzell, Adam Elliott as a season campaigner, Leo Thompson, a little powder keg, and obviously Brayley and Saifidi have just had big games, and Jack Hetherington, one of the more athletic and physical front rowers. He's got a brain snap in him every now and again. Look, their halves probably haven't played in any big games together, but Jack Cogger has got experience in big games. So, look, and you look at their back line, the State of Origin quality centres in Bradman Best, Dane Gagai, Fletcher Sharp, a freakish individual, Fletcher Sharp, and score a try from nowhere. So, look, they're capable of winning the game for sure, but I'm just leaning towards the Cows at home. And that brings us to the last contest, which is the money is dead even, $1.90 apiece. I know the Dogs have had a great year. It's just unravelled the last couple of weeks for mine. I don't know whether it's just they're playing not to get hurt because the semi-finals are coming up. They're going to have inexperience of Jarrell Skelton. I reckon he'll be tested. Tommy Turbo having the week off is going to be huge for them. Cherry Evans at the 7 position. I like what I see from the Manly side, and I'm going to lean towards Manly in a really close one.
I do like what I've seen from Manly. I just think the Dogs are going to take it to that next level. I think that they're going to learn a lot from the last 2 weeks. They've played Manly only 2 weeks ago as well, which I think is so good for the Dogs, bringing them to home. I really like this matchup for the Dogs. I think that, as I said, they're going to learn a lot from the past 2 weeks. They're going to improve substantially. I think they do have another level to go to. I think that the big criticism for me, I think the Dogs start games extremely well, but it's just when there's those smaller guys come on the field, and particularly Salmon at the moment at 13, they just get found out a little bit now, particularly over the past 2 weeks. That's the big thing for me. Teams have started to find them out. Hey, you guys aren't as big as us. We're just going to roll through the middle of you. That's sort of been the gist for me. I think the Dogs are just going to bring it up to that next level of toughness. Curtis Moran's been outstanding this season. He's been a shining light for them, coming off the bench and just getting through a ton of work. Obviously not the strongest in contact, but he's just willing to take that next run. I've seen sets where he just takes 2 runs a set. He's that type of bloke. But yeah, you've got just competitors in this team, and that's what I think the Dogs will do here. I think they'll compete. I think at home they're going to get a decent win against the Manly Sea Eagles and press their home fans, make up for the previous result. Connor Tracy at the back there at fullback, Burton with his kicking game to get him out of trouble as well, along with Toby Sexton at the 7. I think the Dogs can get the job done. I really do. And it's a tough way to end the year for Manly to go out of finals in their first week. But I think that the Dogs are a premiership threat when they're at their best. And I think they're going to turn up to their best, learning a lot from the next last 2 weeks.
Yeah, if they can turn into a defensive slugfest, I think they win the game. If it's the real knock them down, slap them down grinding game, the Dogs win that there. We've got a better style of football for that. But dry conditions this Sunday, I'm pretty sure predicted. It's a day game, a fast track. If it turns into a game of touch footy, mate, there's only going to be one winner here. It's going to be Manly. I know the last time they played, the Dogs didn't have Crichton in their side. So they've probably got a little advantage there, but they were soundly beaten there by 14 or 16 points from memory. It was a fair point. There's a lot of points they've conceded the last couple of weeks. I think it's 34 and then 44 last week. They're certainly not defending the way they were for the first 24 22, 23 rounds. Whether or not you can flick the switch in finals time, I know they got that Serolda who is probably up for Coach of the Year. I think he's done a great job. It remains to be seen. Anyway, it's going to be an interesting final series. Can't wait for it. We'll try and catch up and do an episode every week. Look, if you get an opportunity, I can't go. I'm going to the red and green ball Friday night, but the girls are playing their final game of the year. I think they're ending up in 7th or 8th position at the moment, something like that. They're playing the Knights. They're Friday night at Redfern Oval, at the hallowed turf of Redfern. I'll get out and get behind our girls. They were beaten last week, but they were really in the contest for a long time. They just probably don't have the attack that some of the other teams do, but they've shown a bit of toughness this year, and they deserve a bit of a crowd out there to see them off. So if you're not going to the red and green ball or you're not got nothing on, pop down and see the Harvey Norman women's team go around for the last time this year. The last of our jumpers on offer. There's no other jumpers on offer for the rest of the year.
Yeah, mate. I just want to give a quick congratulations. I'm not too good with the girls' names, but I believe there's a back row from our South team that's just signed with the NRLW. She's gone to the Cowboys for next season. So great to see that she's got an opportunity off the back of the footy played for the Rabbitohs. They've had a very up and down year, but for the most part, towards the back end has been quite solid. Having that experience there in the 7 has been so good for them as well. Really proud of the girls, and look, hopefully we can get a South Sydney NRLW side very, very soon.
Yeah, there's a lot of South fans out there who'd love to see that. We're in 7th position at the moment, but the Knights are at 4th. It's a top 5 system. So I think it's actually top 4 in the women's, actually. So, look, we just can't quite make it. We don't have enough points on the board, but it'll be still nice to knock off one of the semi-finalists in Newcastle. At the hallowed turf of Redfern Oval, mate, you got anything else there, buddy?
Nothing else from me, mate. Nothing else from me. Looking forward to some finals footy.
Yeah, for sure, mate. Looking forward to it. And that might be it for another edition of Rabbitohs Radio Podcast. Up the mighty Rabbitoh.
Up the Bunnies.